Question 1. What is mind? Where is it located in a human body or form, and how does one ultimately control it? Answer. It is very complex to answer since it is beyond logic and apprehension. There is no available literature which discusses the location of mind in the human system. However, ways and means to control the mind have been discussed in detail. In fact, the specific location of mind in the human system is still a great mystery. Modern science claims that the mind is located somewhere in the brain, and based on this assumption, various techniques to manipulate and control the mind have been discussed and implemented in the field of psychiatry and psychology. However, to willingly direct the activities of mind is still a most difficult and complex proposition, and the very sensible aspects regarding mind control have not been understood. It is like trying to control the wind without adequate boundaries. One can suppress his mind temporarily, make it sleepy and functionless by help of tranquilizers affecting the brain, but to active or genuine control of mind is the most difficult activity of the human race from the time immemorial. Self-control is the mind control, and the key to mind control lies in the sense control. It is said, one who has control on his mind has conquered the world. Before going into details of various aspects of mind control, its function and its location in the body, let us first try to understand the verbal, word and each letter meaning of the word mind. In the word mind, M stands for Maya, the illusion. I stands for indulgence. N stands for noise. And D stands for diversion and distress. So, literally word meaning of the mind can be expressed as that sensitive instrument in a human system which indulges in Maya, the illusion, through the senses, getting engaged in time-bound activities that create noise in the process and disturbance of accomplishment, the diversion and distribution of which finally results in distress. Mind is Maya the illusion. Maya the illusion is mind. Maya is Brahma, so Maya is very powerful like Brahma, and it cannot be controlled merely by any human efforts, means and ways. So, the mind being illusion, the Maya, is a very powerful instrument which is capable of creating a great distress of such a high magnitude that can completely deteriorate the human system and make it functionless. So, by simple horizontal human efforts and means, the mind of a human being cannot be controlled. Various means of medication and psychotherapy can suppress the mind or make it temporarily sleepy, withdrawn, and functionless. However, as soon as the effects of drugs and hypnosis wear off, the mind has the capability to draw more energy from the system, which can make him more and more violent, stronger and more rejuvenated than ever, and it becomes difficult to control it subsequently by all mundane means, by medicines or drugs. In fact, it becomes more vulnerable and difficult to control with time. So, what is to be done to control the mind? This needs to be very clearly understood and practiced. Since the mind is Maya and Maya is Brahma, It is very clear that a human being with his limited capacity and capability cannot control Brahma, the creator of the universe, since it is the part of Brahma. So the Maya and also the mind cannot be controlled. From this it becomes very vivid that by any horizontal means mind, that is Maya, that is Brahma, cannot be controlled. It can only be temporarily suppressed. As by closing one hole of the container, the one of the other holes may get violently opened up by increase of the pressure inside. It is the case with mind. It will jump from one point to another. It becomes clear from this picture of the mind that if somebody really wants to control the mind by sincere and honest efforts after understanding the real monkey nature of the mind, then he needs to follow a vertical divine path in place of a horizontal worldly path. This will have double benefit. Firstly, the mind will get controlled since much more mental energy will be utilized for vertical travel, and secondly, the mind will get merged in the soul, losing its individuality, and soul as pure light adopts the pathless path to the supernal. The spiritual science of mind control requires an understanding of the unstable, Mayavik, and dynamic nature of the mind. Mind takes energy for its dynamic nature from the food apart from the breath. So, to control the mind on the physical horizontal plane, it is required that food must be consumed in regulated, selectively and controlled manners, and breath must be fully in control. Precisely speaking, food must be pure and sattvic so that the mind must get only sattvic and pure energy, and not the tamasic and rajasic energies from pungent, putrid, violent, non-vegetarian food. Sattvic vegetarian food gradually increases sattoguna and keeps the mind cool, pure and with much less of irritation. Animal-like ferocious tendencies of the mind get subsided, and in turn it helps the mind to be at rest and gets concentrated easily. Not only the gross food but the food we take from other senses, that is from eyes, ears, nose, skin, must be kept pure. It means our senses must intake sattvic vibrations, that is, we must see good in all, hear or listen good spiritual topics, smell good or fragrant items such as flowers, and be in contact with the good, pure, sattvic and divine people. Directly and indirectly, these activities will help the mind to control the senses, and in turn mind will get controlled easily. Apart from various senses and gross food, the mind gets subtle energy from breath. In fact, the mind requires energy from the breath at all times in order to survive or exist. Mind becomes functionless if a human being becomes breathless. If the breath is controlled, the mind is under control. Breath and mind functions are very closely related. If breath is made tranquil, the mind can be kept under vigilance. Under this stage of tranquil breath, the mind is always under control. Increasing the awareness can also help to manifest vigilance in mind. Awareness of mind is Shiva, constituent of the cosmos, whereas the mind itself is Shakti, constituent, the power of the cosmos. By increasing awareness, we are better channeling the flow of Shakti and reducing noisy and flickering nature of mind. In short, if one really wants to control the mind, He has to be vigilant from all multi-directions, but still the mind can jump at the earliest opportunity. Mind is just like a wind. Wind cannot be controlled. Only if its energy is transformed, it will become less violent. So is the case with the mind. In nutshell, all the above worldly horizontal positive efforts can make the mind less and less violent, but cannot control it fully. In the process of breathing cycle, when breath is in, a human being is active with full energy, but when he exhausts or takes out the complete breath from the system, for a micro or nanosecond in each cycle, he is temporarily breathless during this interval. At this instant of temporarily breathless state, he or jiva is with the supernal unknowingly. If this period is extended, he can contact the supernal. It means at every breath cycle, a creature is with the Almighty for a micro or nanosecond or so. A creature without breath is dead, so he dies once in each breath cycle and again revives as he takes the breath in. And thus a human being remains without mind for that short interval when breath is out of the body and fresh breath is not taken. Since without breath energy human system is dead and functionless, and so the mind. Here lies the key. If a human being is able to increase this duration of being without a breath, he can put his mind more and more under control for a longer duration, making it actively functionless, thoughtless, and in a state of complete rest for a number of times he breathes per minute. Less number of times in a minute if one breath, more will be his lifespan, and his mind will be much more in his control as compared to an ordinary being. An ordinary man takes approximately 21,600 breaths in 24 hours. One can easily reduce this number by 40% to 50% and comparatively increase his lifespan with less of the physical problems. In other words, a void inside the system, sunya, vacuumed inside the system, by less number of breaths per minute and increased in duration without breath, keeping the mind under more and more control. This is the basic and easiest way to control the mind and to increase the lifespan to some extent. Furthermore, to understand how the mind can be completely controlled, one must know the root location of the mind in the human body or system. As discussed above, the human mind is like a Maya, the illusion, and Maya is everywhere in the body and around us. So, the mind is everywhere in the body, and it is a part and parcel of Maya, omnipresent illusion. Thus the mind is diffused throughout every cell of the system and is also everywhere around us. In this world, in this universe, wherever a human being wants to divert or take it. In no time, with much more than a speed of light, it can reach or touch every part of the body, can go anywhere, and can also present in various locations simultaneously. It is omnipresent like Maya, but its basic location or root is at the Brahmasthanam, at the Ajna Chakra, the point between the eyebrows. From here, it can go anywhere, in any part, so it looks like it is present everywhere having been present nowhere. Perfect control of the mind is achieved only by its mergence in the soul, that is the self. When it gets gradually merged, the frequency of thoughts occurring in the mind becomes less and less, and wandering of the mind is diminished. Thus in the process, when it merges completely, the breath becomes still and the mind instantaneously disappears. Then only a perfect blissful and peaceful state pours in. As the life force ascends from Muladhara to Ajna Chakra, it carries by magnetic pull along with it the Jivatma or soul from the Dhara or Anhata Chakra through Vishuddhi and Lambika Chakra up to the Ajna Chakra, located in between the eyebrows, which is the root location of mind. The human soul rests at this point, and the mind gets merged in the soul gradually by concentration. Slowly all duality of the mind disappears. Mind along with soul turns into pure light. The human soul and mind at this location passes from awakening to dreamy state, and then to Sushupti, and gradually to Turiya or transcendental state, when the life force gets fully transformed into pure light. Gradually this pure light travels upward to Chirkasha with slight awareness and goes through Unmani Chakra to Sahasrara, 1,000-petal lotuses, before mergence with the supernal. The mind has completely disappeared or dissolved at this stage. Under such conditions, there is no breath, no mind, and no duality, and thus the mind is transcended and the sadhaka reaches to the perfect state of silence. This is the state of Savikalpa Samadhi. This may be Jagrik or awakening Savikalpa or Turiya Savikalpa, and may be Jagrik, Turiya, and so on depending on state and percentage of mergence of mind with the soul. But it is a state of silence without active mind and breath. Sadhaka is a jada or achetan state without awareness and consciousness. A sadhaka can remain at this stage maximum about 3 minutes. This can only be achieved by the blessings of Almighty, grace of Sri Guru or Master and Mahavtar Babji. After this, a descending journey of light follows, and gradually awareness and presence of mind is felt as the light reaches at Ajna Chakra. From Ajna Chakra to apex center, it is a pathless path of light. But now after descending the light after mergence, the mind gets separated from the soul gradually, but it has now changed permanently. Now the mind is no longer the original mind bound in the Maya, as it was before the ascendance took place. The mind after mergence with soul becomes pure, perfectly calm without any prejudices, reactions and irritations. After the ascendance, coming back to the horizontal plane, it has become from small to big, great and greatest mind. Frequent mergence of mind with soul, soul's ascendance to supernal and its descent from apex center makes it easily controllable by the self, actively calm, concentrated and makes it more capable of taking complex creative work of the world. Human beings can put his sincere efforts for all this, but finally success is in the hands of Almighty and mercy of Sri Guru. Let us pray for His grace and mercy.